What is going on, guys? Today we're having a look at obscure horror games on the Nintendo 3DS. If you didn't know, the eShop is closing soon, so a lot of these games will no longer be available. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos of people talking about games that people should buy before the eShop closes, but people rarely talk about the horror games available only on the 3DS. If any of these games seem interesting to you, you should buy them soon, because before you know it, they'll be gone for good. Let's get started. The first game that we're having a look at is called Phasmophobia, Hall of Specters. In this game, you'll find yourself exploring a maze. Your mission? To find a series of pages hidden throughout. As you search for the pages, you are pursued by evil specters. You have a flashlight to ward them off, but that's it. This game is basically Pac-Man, but a spooky version. There's even doors on either side of the maze. When you enter one, it transports you back to the other side of the maze, just like in Pac-Man. This game can be bought on the eShop for $3.77. Next up, we have Without Escape. This is a point-and-click horror adventure. Now, point-and-click games are usually slow burns, as the main gameplay mechanic is to move your cursor around the screen and interact with your surroundings. As you move the cursor around the top screen and click on items, text will appear on the bottom screen, explaining what to do and how you're feeling. Now, I prefer faster, more action-oriented games typically, but the pacing in Without Escape is on point. It's a puzzling, creepy game. It's quite addictive. Without Escape has a very 90s feel to it. It uses pre-rendered backgrounds and full-motion videos to tell a compelling story. You can purchase Without Escape in the Nintendo eShop for $6.29. Okay, next up we have Horror Stories. This is a fun one, actually. So in this game, you're trapped in these different levels. They're like different mansions and houses, and basically you have to collect items and set traps to stop this big scary guy chasing you. Oh, he got me. You know what? This game is nothing special, but for how much it costs, it's definitely worth it. You can buy this game in the eShop for $2.51. Okay, the next one is definitely one of my favorites. Creeping Terror is a 2.5D side-scroller inspired by traditional horror. The story follows four teenagers who investigate an abandoned mansion. There have been strange sightings of creatures around the estate. The four teens hope to capture paranormal footage on their camera. You play as Arissa, an exchange student from Japan. Playing as Arissa, you must save your friends from the horrors of the mansion and help them all escape. Creeping Terror has heavy influences from the original Clock Tower, as you can only move left and right. You're even stalked by a character called Shovel Man, who randomly appears and attacks you. If you're a fan of old school horror games, then you'll enjoy this. Pick it up on the eShop for a low price of $11.25. Okay, the next game we're checking out is Avenging Spirits. This is a classic 2D adventure released for the Game Boy back in 1991. The story follows a couple who are attacked by the mob. During the attack, your character is killed, and your girlfriend is kidnapped. The mob hopes to blackmail your girlfriend's father into handing over his research pertaining to ghost energy, as he is a scientist who studies the afterlife. Your girlfriend's father brings you back as a ghost to help rescue his daughter. The main gameplay mechanic is very unique. As a ghost, you can fly around and pass through walls, but you have a limited amount of time in your ghostly form. To survive, you must possess different enemies. Each enemy you possess will have their own unique abilities. If the body of your enemy is killed, you must quickly find your next vessel. Also, at any point, you're able to leave the body you're possessing, which instantly kills the vessel. On the surface, it's a very cute game, but if you think about it, it's quite dark, as anyone you possess turns into a corpse the instant you leave their body. Now, this game is not cheap. If you want it physical, you'll be paying upwards of $150 for a loose copy, or you can always buy it on the eShop for just $2.99. The next game we're having a look at is called RTO 2. It is the second game in the RTO trilogy. RTO is a side-scrolling first-person shooter with survival horror elements. You take control of a 6-man team as you attempt to survive 4 stages. Each stage is full of grotesque enemies. The levels generate randomly each time, and if one of your members dies, permadeath occurs and they were lost for good. Check it out if you like first-person shooters. It's a good price on the eShop, it's only $2.39, but honestly, it wasn't really for me. Okay, next up we have Goosebumps. This is a point-and-click horror adventure game based on the popular book series. It actually is a prequel to the movie that came out around the same time. Now again, I'm not a huge fan of point-and-click horror games, but I grew up reading Goosebumps, and I'm a huge fan of R.L. Stine. I had a lot of fun playing this one, and if you're a fan of the Goosebumps series, it's a must-play. You can scoop up this game for the low price of $3.14 on the eshop. Next up, we have Severed. In Severed, you play as Sasha, a one-armed warrior. She wields a living sword as she explores a horrific, otherworldly dimension. The 3DS's touchscreen plays a huge role in the game mechanics of Severed. Swipe-based controls let you solve puzzles, find secrets, and do battle with numerous monsters. There's plenty to sink your teeth into while playing Severed. As you explore, you'll unlock new abilities as you level up in an RPG-style upgrade system. Severed goes for the high price of $14.99. But you never know, maybe they'll cut prices. Up next, we're checking out a 1992 Game Gear classic. It's called Vampire, Master of Darkness. The shadow of Dracula spread like a plague across Victorian England, cursing the land and its people. You must find Dracula and rescue England from his terrifying grasp. Master of Darkness is a platformer game, heavily influenced by Castlevania. You control a Ouija board playing doctor, who's on a quest to stop the Prince of Darkness. During your journey, you'll face monsters, ghouls, and even Jack the Ripper. Master of Darkness is available for the fair price of $4.99. It's definitely a hidden gem and I'd check it out. Okay, up next we have Silver Falls, 3 Down Stars. This is a 3DS exclusive, only available on the eShop. Strange things are happening in the secluded mountain town of Silver Falls. You play as 3 characters, Holt, Moss, and Annalise. You must investigate the strange occurrences that have taken place throughout the town. The core gameplay of Silver Falls involves exploring the town and finding items that will progress the storyline. As you play, you will encounter mutated animals and other monsters whom you must fight. Now, I had a fun time playing Silver Falls. It has a Silent Hill meets Twin Peaks sort of vibe to it, but it does have its flaws. The combat can be frustrating, and your character's movements can be clunky and slow. But by far, the worst thing that holds the game back is its bugs. It has a bad habit of crashing whenever you walk through a door or enter a new environment. In fact, every time you enter a door or go to a new stage, you risk the game crashing. The good news is that the game autosaves whenever you enter a new room. This way you don't lose any progress. I wouldn't recommend this game to any casual gamers, but if you're a die-hard survival horror fan, it's a must-play. Now this game isn't cheap. It costs $32.99. But if you're interested, I'd buy it soon. Because once the eShop closes, this game will be gone for good. Up next we have Silver Falls Undertakers. This game is the prequel of Silver Falls 3 Down Stars. It's programmed to be a throwback to games made for the Atari. You play as Bull Brandish, who along with his best friend Willie are camping at your grandfather's property for the weekend. But suddenly, terrifying creatures appear and start capturing kids around town. As Bull, you must save the other kids who have been taken and convince the adults in town that the monsters are real. This game is a time capsule that delivers a relaxing retro gaming experience. Pick it up on the eShop for the low cost of $6.99. Okay, that was part 1 of Obscure Horror on the 3DS. Catch the rest in part 2. See you then.